Welcome back to the Bald Guy and the Fat Boy podcast. I'm the Bald Guy with my co-host, the Fat Boy,
Roll Tide.
and we're coming back to you after a little layoff here, a little off season, I guess maybe.
Yeah, I don't know about your end, but on my end, I have since become gainfully employed, and then I had to deal with a part time schedule for a while, and then now I'm on my full time schedule, and that changes our days that we record on. So I've really had to as far as the podcast go. I mean, I've revamped my day to day stuff. So I had to work the podcast in around that, and just trying to figure it all out has been kind of a hit or miss thing.
Yeah, well, it looks like with our schedules now, Sunday evening's probably going to be when we're going to be able to hit up and do it. And that should work out with NFL season here. So we won't get the Monday night games, but we should have all of Sunday and be able to bring all that knowledge and our takes on.
And and of course we had other things other than that going on. We had golf today, the President's Cup. We also had Saturday. We had a big slate of college football and some real meaningful football to the Fat Boys. So we got lots to get into and lots to talk about.
All right. Well, what do you want to jump into first?
Well, let's start on Saturday and work our way up.
Okay. So do you want to talk about the Arkansas A&M game?
That's the last thing I want to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Uh, I'll start with Game Day, which is the television show that usually goes to the biggest game of the week, except for next week. Quotations intended. Um, the They were in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, because there's a little bit of a football game in Tuscaloosa this weekend. My beloved Crimson Tide versus the Georgia Bulldogs. First time, first time. This is since they changed the schedule and everything. It's the first time that's becoming a home game. So it was big deal, prime time, big atmosphere, and
And
and then
you all but choked it away.
yeah, it was like I don't know. Me and the bald guy are from Texas, and I'm not a big roller coaster guy, but I've ridden the Texas Giant at Six Flags in Texas, and
Uh-huh.
the bald guy has as well. Well, this game was no more different, in my opinion, than the Texas Giant as far as twists, turns, up, downs, oddness, scariness, crying. I cried a little bit. I mean, I'm not joking. I literally, when we lost the lead, I shed a tear.
I
So
believe you. I believe you.
these things, this was I would say this was an emotional, tumultuous game for your Fat Boy. Uh, the bald guy don't really have a dog in this particular fight, no pun intended, but I did. And when they took the lead after us being up 33-7, I was very concerned. And
Yeah,
then
I imagine.
and then Jalen Monroe turned around and football Jesus said, "Here you go, Harris," or "Here you go, Fat Boy," and that's my real name. And I was just whoo by the skin of my chin, as the three little pigs would say. So we somehow after we got up in the first half, we come back. They come back and got the lead in the second half. And on the very next play from scrimmage, Jalen Monroe to our young phenom Williams. I saw a thing on Facebook today. You know what 6 plus 2 equals?
What?
Well, what is it? I mean, you can do math. What does 6 plus 2 equal?
In math, it's eight.
No, excuse, I said it wrong. What does 4 plus 2 equal?
4 plus 2 equals 6.
Every time, and that is Jalen Monroe number 4 and Williams number 2.
Number two. There you
Four,
go.
2 equals 6, and that is where the Fat Boy is laying his head in. Thank the football gods.
I was getting pretty excited, to be honest with you, with how bad y'all were beating Georgia in the first half. So I was like, hey, this game Texas has coming up against them won't be that bad. But now after that second half, it's gonna be.
I'm not. Of course, I never dreamed that we would jump on them in that first half like that. So there was a myriad of emotion. I just assumed, like me and about 150 or a couple 100,000 other Alabama fans, that we would just put our foot on our throat and continue that on. But to open the curtain up a little bit, what did me and you at halftime discuss? No joke. No. What did me and you both honestly say about what we thought was going to happen in the second half of that football game before it ever transpired?
That Georgia was going to come back and make it a game, and everybody, you especially, were a little concerned about that.
I was extremely concerned. I love being up 33-7. I mean, I think it's great. I thought what we did in the first half was wonderful, but I didn't count Georgia out 1 second for
Right?
being because they're that good to be able to make them quick strikes, touchdown, 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 go ahead, touchdown, and we're down. And
Yeah, all of a
I'm
sudden,
about to pull my hair out.
something that worked so good in the first half worked at all in the second half.
Yeah, we could. I mean, Jalen Milroe couldn't go outside anymore. Running up to, they stopped the run. They started stopping the run. They started making their catches. I mean, I thought I was going to lose my freaking mind. And then Jalen said, "Okay." He said, "Here, we'll do this," and they did. And then they drove down and threw an interception. And don't get me wrong, we got lucky. I'll be the first one. We got lucky to hang on to that win because of how Georgia come out. Georgia come out like a 500-pound gorilla and just started knocking us in the head. But it was, but we held on and got the victory. And then I was talking to you earlier, but we'll do a little show prep. We was everything. We don't have any conversations anymore. Me and you we just have show prep conversations now because
Yeah,
everything we want to talk about on the podcast anyway. So the AP poll come out today, and they moved Alabama to 1, Texas to 2. Well, why does Texas go to 2? Well, the box score shows Texas dominated the team they played, which I'm going to remember here in another minute. Who did they play?
State,
Huh?
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, the Cowbells. They played the home of the Cowbells, and it shows that Texas dominated that game. But in reality, if you watch the game like me and you tell everybody to do, that was not the case.
They started slow.
Manning
Definitely started
look
slow.
is great. There was some turnover stuff. There was some. It got ugly toward the end, but it did. It was. I mean, it didn't look like that the whole way. And it's a good definition of why you need to before y'all play Georgia. Well, I'm all about Manning when it's his turn, but y'all need to get Quinn Ewers back.
Yeah, I agree too. And if you'll look at it, I mean, we jumped up after we beat Michigan, and nobody really knows what Michigan's going to be this year. So y'all beating
In my
That's fine.
for a good reason because you didn't just beat Michigan. You went to the big house and you manhandled Michigan, and that's fine. But who was the quarterback during that game?
I don't even remember.
It was Quinn Ewers. I
Oh,
mean,
for Texas, yes. I thought you meant for.
for Texas during the Michigan game was Quinn Ewers. So
Yeah,
therefore, I think my point holds water there. That Manning has been able to kind of stay the course while
yeah,
you
against
get
some
hurt.
lesser teams, and I think that this is great for his development. He needed a couple of games.
Yeah,
He,
but
he got to start an SEC game. He got to start, a smaller school game and play well in most of those. So I mean,
But
it,
he showed some of his immaturity yesterday or Saturday, excuse me. He showed me some of his. He showed me a few reasons why he still needs a little more time, a little more seasoning.
yeah, no, I mean he showed flashes of why he's great and why everybody's waiting on him to be next. And he showed you some reasons of why Ewers has a starting job.
Yes. So therefore, it, there should be no argument about who this should be the
I
starter.
don't think there is any argument.
There shouldn't. You got those that group of fans that says Manning did this, Manning did that. Well, that's fine, but yours is the horse you should be riding to have your shot at the national title, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I think Ewers has a chance depending on, I mean, these couple games he's been hurt, but depending on what he does the rest of the year, I think he could put himself in the Heisman conversation.
So therefore, okay, so once the AP poll did, they got Alabama won because what we did at Georgia, even though they made a miraculous comeback on us, they put Texas at 2. Well, Ohio State is at 3, and they should be at 3, but Ohio State hadn't been tested yet,
Right.
and they hadn't been knocking them out yet. So we still don't know exactly where Ohio State stands, but some of that'll come out in the wash as they play through the schedule.
Well, I mean, who are they going to play that's going to test them?
Well, personally, I think by the time they play Michigan, I think Michigan will test them.
You think?
Michigan, I know y'all wrong Michigan, but just like here this next week, you're going to play Oklahoma, and being you both know, Texas could be settling around as free as a bird, and then they run into Oklahoma and they look like crap, just like we look like crap against Auburn. It's just the way those games work. So Ohio State will have a game like that, and more likely that there's a chance it could be against Michigan.
Yeah, that's true.
So
and then
Ohio State, we got rid of one flavor of, not rid of, but there was the college football pundits like to pick a flavor a month going into every season. To begin with, we had 2 going into this season. The flavor of the month going into this season was, the first one was Ole Miss. Well, they got beat by Kentucky. So Ole Miss is now out of the. I mean, they're not completely out of the playoffs, but they're out of the flavor of the month conversation. Your next flavor.
Hold on, did you hear Kiffin talk about that?
No, go ahead.
He talked about, I saw him interviewed, and he said that Gundy did something that he's never done before in his career, and he probably wouldn't. He got outside of his personality to make that call for the go route on 4th down, and that would probably never happen again. And he's pretty sure they showed to be like 90% favorites to win the game before that. So that was just an anomaly, and that's the only reason that they lost the game.
You said Gundy. You meant Stoops.
Was it Stoops? Okay, yeah.
I know where you were going there, but I just wanted to make sure for clarification. But you said Gundy, but you meant Stoops.
Yeah. Anyway, whoever the coach for
Kentucky was,
yeah, that 100%. He was calling him out, saying that he never does anything like that. So it was way out of character. So we had no idea it was coming.
Right. So the next flavor of the month I was referring to is, which this will get settled out just like the Ohio State thing will, is Tennessee. Tennessee is the flavor of the month right now, and they put them at 4, and then Georgia fell to 5. I don't think. I think personally Georgia fell a little far for me. I wouldn't have Georgia at 5. I'd have Georgia at 4 and Tennessee at 5.
But Georgia's got a chance when they play Texas to come back up.
Oh, no doubt about that. I'm not saying. I'm just talking about in my mind's eye. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4 to me right now is Alabama in any order is Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, and Georgia. With me, Tennessee having more to prove than any of the rest of those 4. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's also a whole lot of SEC bias in your rankings here.
But no, I mean, I can only go by what I watch on the field. I'm watching ACC. I'm watching Big Ten. I'm watching Big 12. I'm watching Pac-10. I'm watching all of it, and I can only go off the eye test. And the eye test tells me that your top 3 or 4 teams in the country, whether you like it or not, is in the SEC.
Well, I mean, maybe so. Like I said,
Well,
we'll see what happens with Ohio State if they ever get to play anybody.
if they ever get to play anybody, that's going to be the key. I don't keep up with their schedule, so I know who we have next. I say we, I mean Alabama next. I even know who Texas plays next because I think that's Oklahoma. But y'all may have a bye before you go. I
Yeah.
think you have a week going in before this, and I even know that. But now because Texas is in the SEC, so I guess my point is I don't know exactly what Ohio State has next, and of course you get up in Tennessee, same deal, and so there's a lot of ebbing and flowing still to go in the season, but Alabama beating Georgia in any fashion is the first step into a long road of many more steps.
Yeah, and we'll see how that turns out. Like I said, we got a long way to go.
Yeah, but a fun way to go. I mean, after this weekend, boy, I mean, I went from the outhouse to the penthouse in one throw of the ball.
You
So
got way more excited about this football season after that game on Saturday.
because I know I'm still used to the 4-team playoff and everything, and I ain't got used to 12 and all that. But I didn't want. I mean, I didn't want to lose that game after getting up 33-7. I'm sorry, I didn't want to hear it, and we didn't. Thank God, thank the football gods. So that we didn't.
Hmm.
All right. So what other? I wanted to mention. I did watch quite a bit of the Colorado game, and I'm gonna go on here and give my Heisman, who I think the Heisman top three of the Heisman race should be, whether people like it or not.
Okay. Give us your top three.
My top three is Hunter from playing both sides of the ball in Colorado
Yep.
is one, and there's going to be lots of argument with that, and I'll take every bit of it. And I think that'll change as he will go as his team goes, as far as how he stands in the echelon of the Heisman race. But as far as right now goes, they only got one loss, and Hunter going both sides of the ball and making an interception and a touchdown in the same game is just doing get me some of the same feelings as watching. I compared him to him already when we were having more show prep. Talking about Shohei Ohtani, it has some of the giving me some of the same feelings. So therefore, I've got Hunter at one. I've got Milroe and Ewers at 2A and 2B. And so that's my top three of the Heisman right now. Even with Ewers missing games, I still have him up there and tied with Milroe as the second also. And don't get me wrong, Hunter's team could change his even though he's that good, his team has to keep being relatively relevant for him to stay in the Heisman race. I don't know how you feel about any of that.
Yeah, no, I think once they start losing some games, he'll definitely lose some hype. But
Some
I'm
luster.
no problem with you having him up there.
Okay, well, I can only go, but and I harp on this a lot. But this was something old Randy Galloway used to say: watch the damn game. And when I watch the games, to me, the best player in college football right now, playing both sides of the ball for all 60 minutes, even with the break at halftime and everything, is Hunter.
So you're a big Travis Hunter fan.
Hell, I'm a big fan of how he's doing it.
Okay.
Big,
Well, so let
big,
me ask you this. If he goes to the NFL, do you want the Cowboys to draft him?
do you, I mean, well, Dion, how many players can you think of that went both ways in the NFL successfully? I can, I can think of two or three.
Yeah.
Do you think
Dion being one.
Dion being one is that? Well, his adopted daddy is one. You know, he's had Travis and his son Shakur since they were Pee Wee football,
Yeah.
and so the Shakur and him are close enough to be brothers. So everybody says that Dion's his adopted daddy, and he models himself after Dion with the way he plays and everything. So I guess mean, how long has it been since you can remember having a two-way player like that in the NFL?
Oh, it's been a long time.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, so if you were to ask me would I draft him, if you I mean, does that shorten his longevity doing that in the NFL? I would think we have to, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. And who knows, the team that gets him may make him specialize. He may not get to play both sides.
That's exactly right. I mean, but so under that criteria,
And I mean,
uh,
we're saying two ways. Dion went three ways because he was able to do special teams as well.
you can go say Dion went four ways. He also played baseball. So, and I don't give a damn what anybody says. Bo Jackson and Dion playing baseball and football, and missing training camps and doing football and all that. That's all impressive stuff. And there's a reason why everybody doesn't do that, because it takes a real unique special talent to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, it does. For sure.
And back in the old days, there used to be a bunch of players that went both ways, but there was a reason they quit doing that. Those players didn't last very long. So, legitimately. So, if there was a way that he could do that in the league, I would say he's a very high echelon pick. But I just don't know. I just don't know in the NFL if I mean I need to see more sample size to determine if he's going to be able to capable of being able to do that on Sundays as opposed to Saturdays, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think there's a team that's going to draft him to do that. I think
Okay.
they'll view him one way or the other, and then that's what he'll play.
Well, there's only one I can think of that would allow it.
Who?
The one that's allowed it before, Dallas. Jerry Jones loves a freak show like that. I mean, Jerry Jones eats up. That's just the kind of thing Jerry Jones would love to have, like a show, be the owner of a guy like Shohei Ohtani or Hunter or Dion or anybody like that, because with those kinds of things come extra spotlight, headlines, sideshow, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
There used to be another one, but he passed away now. He not so much, but there used to be another owner that was the same way, and that was the owner at the Raiders before
Al Davis.
Al Davis used to. Al Davis used to do some of the same things as the Jerry Jones does. Is what I mean. As
Al
far as
Davis was always way more harping on speed. That
yeah,
was his cue. He was all about having a bunch of fast guys.
but can you imagine having that speed on both sides of the ball and him? That would be right up Al Davis's route too, alley too, in my opinion.
Right.
So those are the two I could think of that would have done it.
Okay.
Jerry being still in charge of doing it, and Al Davis being gone and not being able to do it. But those are the two examples I could think of.
Well, let's transition to the NFL now.
No, let's do a small blurb on golf first.
Okay. All right.
Because it ain't gonna take long. The USA and the international team played the. It's called the President's Cup, and they played in Canada, and the USA won the tournament. I think
Hasn't the
I didn't
USA won 10 in a row now?
maybe I know they won several of the international cups. They've been playing the President's Cup since '94.
Okay.
It hadn't been going as long as other tournaments have, but it's still. And I watched some of that today, the final round, and of course, all your normal people were there, and they got the victory. So I just wanted to make mention that there was a high profile team winning golf tournament in Canada that was won by the Americans. Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele. I mean, all your normal names were right there at the top, helping them get the victory. So, and I just wanted to make mention of that. I hope that was okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, now
Well, it was good.
we can transition on into the NFL. during show prep, I mentioned to you today that I believe that the NFC East is the worst division in football.
It may not be the worst top to bottom. There may be a couple that
I
are
mean,
bad.
tell me who's worse. Tell me four teams that are worse. Well, worse than the four teams in the NFC East.
Uh, how's the AFC West doing?
AFC West. Who's in the AFC West? Just give me a start, and I'll tell you.
I don't remember, like the Chargers.
Yeah, but in the AFC West, it has Kansas City in it, so they're doing pretty good.
But the rest of them are trash.
Well, yeah, I get that, but I mean, but when one is the perennial Super Bowl favorite, that makes the NFC West pretty good.
I mean, right now everybody's 500 except for the Chiefs, which is 4-0.
Yeah, but
So,
but but when you're the Chiefs and that good, what the other three dummies don't really matter, especially if you're the one if you're representing that in the Super Bowl, it really doesn't matter. But I can tell you, based off the eye test, the NFC East of all the other divisions looks the worst to me.
well, the AFC South schedule wise, what their record is right now is worse than the NFC East.
You mean record wise?
Yeah.
But the only problem with that is NFC South has New Orleans in it, right?
No, no, the AFC South.
Oh, not NFC South, AFC South.
Texans, Colts, Titans, Jaguars.
Yeah,
Titans
I
are
know that.
0-3, the Jaguars are 0-4.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. Maybe I can give you that, but let me ask you this:
Uh-huh.
if you had to pick those four teams versus the other four teams, I mean, you had the best matchup, in my opinion, would be Houston versus the Washington Redskins. How bad is it the Washington Redskins are our representative? And yes, I called them the Washington Redskins because, in my opinion, that's what their names are. I ain't calling them no crappy Commanders. And then I'm not. I mean, if you want to try to come cancel me, more power to you. Because as far as I'm concerned, in my humble opinion, I didn't get enough feedback from the Native Americans to call them anything but the Washington Redskins.
Okay. You stand on that one.
I'll stand right on top of it. So therefore,
all right. So the NFC East sucks. That's what we're going with.
And yes, and Washington being the top of the NFC East, in my humble opinion.
Well, record wise, they're there.
Well, yeah.
They're 3-1. The Cowboys and Eagles are 2-2, and the Giants are 1-3.
I just from what I saw a Thursday against Giants and the Cowboys, that game was measured. I watched paint drying that was more entertaining than that game. It was horrible. It was hard to watch. I mean, just penalties and bad plays and just I mean, the only reason I didn't turn it off because it had my team in it, and that's even though, and now that they're back to being my team. Why? Yes, they're back to be my team because they signed him to 4 years and $60 million. And I ain't going to be on the Houston Texans for 4 more years. So I got to retract all the back. I mean, I just ain't.
Oh, man. That's what broke down on that.
I'm right back on the losing bandwagon with the Dak train because if you can't beat them, join them. So now I have to join them because I ain't staying on Houston that long. And now we done signed his tail to $60 million for 4 years a year. And I'm not happy about it. I didn't vote for it. I don't want it, but I am a Cowboy fan. And so I got to learn to love it.
Welcome back.
Well, and it's just ironic. The last time I was on here, I thought I was getting to do something monumental by jumping off of them suckers because they hadn't done anything. They hadn't made that stupid move yet. But now, after all this time off, I'm right back here, jumping right back on them because because now he's going to be there regardless. And what a choice do I either I'm on with them or I got to be against them, and I want to be against them. So what do I do?
You root for them and you accept the fact that you have a top 10 quarterback and you go about your business.
Well, whatever you said, I guess, because I don't agree with that.
Yeah. Well, now coaching gets interesting for next year.
Boy, it sure does. I mean, did we talk? Did we do show prep on who I wanted the next coach to be?
No, I don't think so. Who do you want the next coach to be?
Well, I don't know how long it'll be before he can get there, but I don't think you want Dion. I wouldn't mind having Dion eventually.
Oh, Dion, no.
Yeah, I knew that was. I knew that you didn't want that, but I think that could be a possibility in the near future. But I'll tell you who I don't. I know the one I don't want. Everybody else seems to think they may. Jerry may want. I don't want him.
Who?
You know who?
Belichick?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't want Belichick.
I
I don't
don't either.
think
Now there's a Belichick. There's a Belichick disciple. I wouldn't mind having. Uh, Necessarily. How do you feel about Mike Vrabel?
mm,
Any
I
better than
don't know if
Belichick?
it's a job or not.
Huh?
I mean, yes, possibly.
Yeah, me too. That's about where I'm at on that deal too. So if not them three, then who? In your opinion?
I don't know. Could we get Jason Garrett back?
Well, I'm sure he can. He's just on the NBC show before the game. I'm sure that he could be hired. I'd like to get Jason Garrett back. I was a Jason Garrett fan.
Were you?
Yes.
He was your guy. So I mean, but weren't you ready for that to be over with? I mean, they just hung with him so long and never did do anything.
Not really, because I was worried. I was worried about who we were going to get to replace him. I come from sometimes just coming to school better than the devil you know, as opposed to the devil you don't. And I won't, and I'll go out this far. I've not been completely disappointed in Mike McCarthy. I just haven't. I mean, I like most of what Mike McCarthy's done, but if this team keeps trending the way they're trending, is he losing them? I think he's losing them. I think he's already about halfway lost the locker room with all the back infighting and the bickering and all that. I think he's about halfway lost the locker room. Don't you agree?
I don't know if he's lost it. I think a bunch of that is now the players have a lot more platforms to put their opinions out there, and you're dealing with a linebacker that now has
Yeah,
a migraine that's a problem.
me and you need to be doing a podcast because we don't have a lot. I mean, you got a job and I got a job, but they're regular job. You got kids, I've got dogs. We got lives. We don't have lives like Michael Parsons got. He needs to leave the podcast to us and play football and shut the hell up.
Well, I mean, I enjoy his podcast. I enjoy his
Well,
insights.
I understand, but I don't think none of his teammates hardly do.
Well, because he tries to put a bunch of people out there.
Yeah,
And
that's not a good thing, though.
well,
That,
nobody's saying he's a young kid. Yet
room,
nobody's saying he's a great leader yet.
that locker room is supposed to be sacred, Charlie.
Is
I
it?
mean, oh, guys, excuse me.
Why? Why is it supposed to be sacred?
I didn't say it was. I said it's supposed to be. It's kind of like Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. It's supposed to be.
Oh,
Hey,
come on now. The Lakers found that out a few years ago. That's not how it works anymore.
well, I'm not. I'm not doing enough. I don't follow any trend that the Lakers put out there. First of all, because I don't like the Lakers any more than I like anybody else.
What's your problem with the Lakers?
They're in. They're in my conference. They beat my team, and I don't care
Well,
for it.
comparing them to the Cowboys is more where I was. I mean, let's
Well,
face
still,
it.
they're the.
It's
I mean,
Cowboys, Yankees, Lakers, just kind of because they run their sport.
wow. Where do it, Cowboys, Alabama, and who else? Uh, who just won the championship? And
What?
and
What?
oh, do Celtics, Alabama, and the Cowboys. Don't do Lakers and Yankees. Yeah,
But you said won a championship. What does that have to do with the Cowboys?
huh?
I'm saying the teams that are thought of first in their sport, even
Like,
though whether they win or not.
I'll even give you Notre Dame. Give me Notre Dame and the Celtics as opposed to the Lakers.
Celtics just won. We're not talking about winning franchises necessarily. We're talking about people that are popular in spite of that, where the
Well,
brand is bigger than the product.
I would consider that to be the the Celtics and the uh, Notre Dame as well. Notre Dame is worldwide, and so is the Celtics brand. So
Yeah, but I mean, you think the Celtic brand is bigger than the Laker brand?
as big, yes.
I don't. I believe there's a section of the country that it is, but I
I
think
I
nationwide.
I think the Celtics brand is just as big as the Laker brand, and I'll argue that forever.
Well, I mean, we can argue that. Maybe everybody can tell us what they think, but I personally believe that the Laker franchise is more dominant in public as far as attention getting.
Well, and then of course, I mean, the most irrelevant, relevant people you got out there, Notre Dame, they're the same way. I think they're irrelevant, but they're right out there, popularity abound. I just don't I mean. I don't have nothing to do. I don't want to be associated in any manner with the Yankees, with the Lakers. I mean, any of that. I'd rather go Celtics, Notre Dame, or Alabama as opposed to, I mean, Lakers, Yankees. I don't. I would rather the Cowboys not be in the conversation with them.
Okay, well, I don't know why you want to be like that, but
I'm just what I am. What I am. That's what Papa said.
yeah, so the Warriors are the most valuable franchise at 7.7 billion right
I
now.
was going to say Warriors a while ago when I said Celtics, but I went Celtics because of all the championships. Just so you couldn't say whether they got more championships. I went Celtics over Warriors, but Warriors are more or could be high profile too, as far as the brand goes as well.
Yeah, but their run's coming to an end, so I mean,
Well, maybe so. Okay, so uh, try not based off of all that. Well, of course, we had a game tonight, and as far as I could tell, I thought tonight was a little bit of an upset. How did you feel about it? Or do you even know what the final score was?
I don't know what the final score was yet.
Baltimore beat the Buffaloes pretty good. I thought Buffalo would do a little better showing in that, but they didn't.
Yeah, Baltimore's come on since the Dallas.
I think uh, I think my one of my ex running backs from Alabama ran for 209 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I have him on a fantasy team. He had a good game.
Two, yeah, he had a good game. 209 and 2 touchdowns. Pretty good game.
Yeah,
So Derrick Henry. Uh,
I think they're finding out how to use him and Lamar Jackson together.
boy, I mean, tell you, but I mean, could you imagine? I wish the Cowboys got their heads out of their
I
butts.
think they could line up every time and run the option play.
Yeah, but I just wish the Cowboys got their heads out of their butts and paid Derrick Henry to come to Dallas. I mean, we
They
wouldn't have.
had to pay everybody else. They had
Yeah,
everybody else that had to get
we
paid.
wouldn't have glaring problems. We wouldn't have some of the glaring problems we have now if we had Derrick Henry.
We'd have different ones.
We'd have different ones, but we wouldn't have some of the ones we got now. Okay, so beyond that, of course, I don't know when basketball starts. Hockey preseason going on now.
Basketball, we need to talk about the trade that happened.
Uh, you're gonna have to clue me in. I saw something, but I didn't get all the details.
The New York Knicks traded Randall to Minnesota for Cat.
Yeah, see, I didn't get. I mean, I saw that, but I thought that was a like a meme or something like them
No,
wishful. That
no,
that was an actual trade.
Yep, Randall and DiVincenzo or whatever
Yeah,
left. So the Villanova connection at the Knicks is out now because he got shipped out.
yeah,
But yeah, that's gonna be an interesting team. Now the Knicks are gonna be way different next year.
yeah. I agree. They're gonna be challenging the Celtics for that top spot. That's for sure.
It could be, especially if the point guard Brunson keeps up the way he's been playing. They'll be top 3 or 4 in the East for sure.
Yeah. You you do know who the Cowboys play next, right?
No, who?
The Cowboys play Sunday night. And I just drew me. Wish I would have had that wrote down before I said anything because I
I
remember.
did tell you, you're making fun of me for not knowing you can't
Yeah,
even playing.
gonna be a good game too. But it's a Sunday night football game.
Is it a division game or
I can't look it up. Look it up so we can talk about it. I happen to do the podcast on my phone, so I can't look it up. But it's gonna be a decent game, I think. It's gonna give us an idea where.
hold on, here we go. Oh yeah, no, the Steelers.
That's what it was. But yeah, it's the first time in 40 years that we're going to play the Steelers in the regular season.
Yeah, I think the next 3 games are gonna tell you a lot.
Yeah.
You got Steelers, Lions, 49ers.
Yeah, but the Steelers lost today. They got beat by Indianapolis, and I think they were playing in Pittsburgh. So I don't know if Steelers coming off got a bad taste in their mouth against that or not. And the backup Joe Flacco had to come in and finish that game up. I think what's his name got knocked out and had to. I think they had to finish the game up with Joe Flacco.
Who did? Who got
The Indianapolis Colts versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, but I'm saying who'd he come in for?
Oh, the quarterback is it Jefferson? No, it ain't Jefferson. It's
Richard. You're saying
Richardson.
for Indy is what I'm saying. Yes.
He came in for Indy. He's not on the Steelers. They got their two are Fields and
Wilson.
Wilson. So
Yeah, that's why I was wondering if maybe Wilson wasn't ready, so that's why they had to bring somebody in. But you're saying Richardson went down.
yeah,
Oh man, that's rough. Hate to see that. Cowboys are 1.5 point dogs to the Steelers in week 5.
as of right now, but it's awful early. That'll change. That'll change about 3 times between now and then.
Probably get bigger.
Probably will. I didn't say it wouldn't go get bigger. I just said it'll change. Um, don't do that. That's contagious. And we're trying to put on an entertaining podcast for the people out there. Since we ain't been on in forever.
I know. So what else we got left to talk about? What about bull riding? Give us a bull riding update.
Well, they're in the middle of the team series season, and as of the last time I looked, the Texas Outlaws are winning are leading in the team series, but they take the top 6 to go into the playoffs. I think they only got like a couple more weeks before they start the playoffs, so we're getting down to where and the finals will be in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena coming up in November. So we got that to look forward to.
It might be worth a trip out there to go see.
I would love to be able to afford to be able to do that, but I still got to get some stuff lined out for this new employment I'm working on. So
I'd
I'm
love
very
for you to be able to take me out there. That'd be
uh,
great. I'd love for you to be able to take me out there. That'd be
to afford to take you out there, but we just ain't there yet.
cool. I
Um,
go private, by the way.
yeah. We also I the one thing.
Oh,
Yeah, I told you it was contagious. the one thing we don't talk about much on here that I get in pretty heavily, but it's kind of more of a Texas niche thing. I keep up with a lot of high school football, and of course, I keep up with a few different teams as far as my fandom goes and everything. So, and I deal with that on my day to day. So, between the college football and the high school football and pro football and all the football, and and of course, I don't give a crap about baseball now that the Rangers aren't in it. We go over to the outhouse, we go over to the penthouse and outhouse with the Rangers. Rangers, they finished up their last game with a wet popcorn party against the Angels today, and we ain't even in the playoffs. Go from the World Series, not in the playoffs. I mean, I just ain't used to that yet, so I'm still crying in my spilt milk over that deal.
Why you're used to not going to the playoffs with the Rangers? Why are you acting like that?
Last year we went to the World Series, so that's a little bit. It's a little bit hard for me to take so far.
Last year you won the World Series. And if anybody would have told you last year, hey, you'll win the World Series, but you're not going to make the playoffs next year, everybody takes that deal. So I
Yeah,
don't have a problem.
but somebody forgot to tell me that.
Okay. Well, look
Uh,
at what Bochy did in San Francisco.
uh,
Look at what
yeah,
Bochy
for the
did.
year. I know.
Okay. So next year is the year you need to watch out for.
Um, and of course, I don't know who's. Do you know who Texas plays this weekend? Oh no, they're off. We
They're all
established
they're all
they go. They play the Red River, against Oklahoma the week after.
yep.
We got the vaunted Vanderbilt Commodores
I
this
know.
week.
I hope that game with Georgia didn't like get y'all too emotionally spent to where they
Y'all, we can't
up there.
Commodores.
Yeah, they do bad things to you.
The main reason to know why I know that they're the Vanderbilt Commodores,
Why is that? Why does that stick with you?
because I that's one of the games I saw the Vanderbilt Commodores live and in living color in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. That's one of the games. That's one of the games in my fandom I actually got to. So I got to see them play against Vanderbilt once.
You went out there on pretty much a sure thing as far as if you were going to drive out there and go see it. I want to
And
make sure they're going to.
oh, we didn't talk about that. Now that brings up a good point. During Saban's run, the games that wasn't real competitive, going to be competitive games, were cheaper to get into.
Oh, I bet. I
Yeah,
bet.
and for Vanderbilt, that was for a long time. Vanderbilt was one of the cheaper games. They were an SEC game, but only sort of.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, only sort of. I have been on here since they named the field after Nick Saban, and of course, I mean, I cried when we lost the lead against Georgia. Imagine how I boohooed when they dedicated Nick Saban Field at Bryant Denny Stadium after Nick Saban, my coach. So therefore, we went from the bear to the goat. Now we're to the DeBoer. So I'm gonna give you a shirt that says that the bear, the goat, and the boar. Roll Tide. Don't that make you happy?
Yeah, it doesn't
Make,
do nothing for me either.
makes me very happy. And so I can see the ball guys starting to fade a little bit. So we're gonna wrap this. We're gonna wrap this episode up for tonight. But we're gonna come back with some more stuff to talk about and some more people to offend. So if I offended you, good. That was my intention. Roll Tide.